Incremental greetings. Today I have one huge realization I had today, one discovery. Here I have the Chinese collection, right? But if I go here to get the counts, I have 20,000 elements. Out of those, 5,000 are items. Gotcha. But if I get the counts of my local folder in SuperMemo, I have 11,000 sound files, okay. But how is that I only have 2,487 HTML files? How come I have less than 2,500 HTML files, yet I have 20,000 elements? This doesn't add up at all. Look, just for the items. If I go to any random item, I have two at least, so I will expect this will be a file, this will be also a file. If I go here, I have two HTML components. So, and if I have 5,000 items, I will expect to have at least 10,000 HTML files. And then on top of that, the topics, at least one file per topic. And I have, I think, 5,000? 15,000 topics, oh my god. How come I only have 2,487? Yeah, 87 files. This doesn't add up. Well, I did my discovery, and it's so fascinating. We can use this very same item as an example. Look at the question. What is the pinyin of the Mandarin syllable used as heart? And then you have the sound file, right? So the question, how it's written, it's always the same. The only difference, it's the sound file, the sound that it's linked, right? Okay. But if I go to another one, it's the same, it's using a different tone. But the question is exactly the same. So the question is SuperMemo actually reusing this? So, paraphrasing the question is, do I have this every time or just one? Well, if I go to search and text registry, look at the text registry, 32,000. This is a number I could expect of files, right? 32,000 HTML files. Those are the 2 for every item and 1 for every topic. But I only get 2,000 and something. How is that possible? I am missing data? No, I don't. So let's try this. If I go to Ctrl-Shift F6, I get the source. Oh, how come it's a TXT file instead of an HTML? Now, how come I get this file? Where is this file? Look at that. It says element, number of the element, and component 1. Where is this in my systems? Right? It's not a number. Usually you only get a number. Like this, if we have here, that will be, look, it's a number. 311. Well, if what I do is actually view file, that will open on my Firefox. Yes, Firefox. Look at that. It's a temporary plain text on temporary folder. This file is generated as soon as I do a show source. This SuperMemo is regenerating this. This is a fake. This is in the sense that this is not a genuine file from my collection. This is only for displaying. So, long story short, this is not here. What you see here displayed is not a file. It's something that it's linked. So let me search for that. If I search for this on my collection, I will have some thousands. Okay, oh, less than I expected. 1,000 and something users. So all of these share the same question. It happens to be the question. So they have the exact same first component. And you would say, oh, this is repeated every time. But keep in mind, I'm looking for items. Well, elements. Happens to be items in this case. But what if I do the search on my text register? So here you can see I have the pinyin, some descriptions and so on, right? So let me see it here. What is the Mandarin syllable used as heard? And voila! There's only one single member on this registry. So this question, this text, it's only existing once. There's only one instance, occurrence of this. if I go to the list, look, oh, more than I thought. 2,000 and some hundred, 2,000, almost 700 elements that are using this very same text. But it's not a text component or a text file. It's a text registry member. So, in other words, if I go here, right click, links, registry member, voila, what is the meaning of the Mandarin syllable? It's actually not a text, there's no text here. It's just linking. Table with the sim, right? So this is one random picture. If I go here, links, registry member, is when I can look for another picture, right? You can do the same with text components and HTML components. Usually a user won't be using that. Doesn't make much sense, but SuperMemo lets you do that. I can change this. So all the questions are actually linking the same registry member. So what I will do now is open Ctrl F6, escape, Ctrl F6 once again, and I will be duplicating the question mark so you can understand it. Save the file. I'm saving the file that is a temporary file on the temporary folder that is just being created. And I save it with 2 question marks. What will happen is that now I get 2 question marks. But since everything, all of the items are linking that registry member on the text registry. Look at that. Now if I look for another one, what is the meaning? All of them now have 2 question marks because it's just a link. The link hasn't changed. What changed is the content of what's here, right? Nice. And let's say that I manually modify this and I say, let's put 3. Well, that is more obvious, let's put more. What will happen now is that now there's no link. So if I go to another one, I get the same, the previous one, the same that all of them are using. What happened here is that since I modified the component, not the source, if I go now to the source, now this is different. It's yet it's temporary, but if I want to link it, look, now I have 1 extra new text registry member that is only used on this very same item. And what happens now if I delete this to once again manually using the queue for editing? What do you think will happen? Now it's no longer a text. So what SuperMemo is doing is checking all the text registry members, since I'm not using an HTML tags. And if there's a match, so in other words, this very same text exists already in my registry, SuperMemo will link to it instead of creating a new one that will be a duplicate. So now the question is, what will happen? Links, registry member. And voila, it's linked. It's not a new one. Good to know, right? SuperMemo is saving a space and it's reusing as much as possible, even if it's not telling you.